Breaking news at Araba said President Mahama apamo the Chief Justice, Madam Gertrude Torkornoo, officially from the suspension. Yinedi. President Mahama Yinedi. Mama will share a video there around 12. And I'm breaking news. The man said the Article 146 committee led by Justice Court Gabriel Puaman has submitted recommendations based on petition 1. If you review offended Daniel Foriwo, Akoma President John Dramani Mahama. Na me catch them comment na say usual na be any omo na me catch them say utie Justice Court Puaman here or you should phrase be or say without fear or favor. And uyo bia we sentence analysis. I me catch us yentie ni biotin bo video ni ma on premier nu. Come catch us me suspect say bibi wo. I couldn't say what it is, but now me suspect say bibi wo. When I told you say yentie video ni yentie video ni bio. Breaking news we do fear ya. Maybe one breaking news by the President Mahama. Madam Gertrude Torkornoo di. I'm coming to break it down for you. Gertrude Torkornoo na kasa on Daniel Fori case na no na say nim say no ne agina so de yinadi for clear stated misconduct. We are not so much and Yamamian ye bet me so dear Chief Justice Eddie. Ye be yet education in a mamma and kasa. Lawyer Kwame Akufu work BB. Mamma and a man for Cassan Con resign, Ribiniente one resign. Exclusive part show. And I'm a bro. Now, Sunday, best start and measures of a subscriber, most subscriber, not click on this case. Me the video be to man, Oben Munuet Miashibi. Now, Sunday, because on a pan rate, our Apple store and a Google Play so download the person send this kaba Ghana or America baby I will be obosi kanishema rate ni na remitting platforms be yama ye bebo no click so na de di wuduma now yenye ni say left na a free fellas kwache ofosu page or the abase sia no. Let me read the letter for you. The letter states that President John Dramani Mahama has, in accordance with Article 1469 of the 1992 Constitution, removed the Chief Justice, Her Ladyship Justice Gertrude Araba, Esaaba, Sackey, Torkornoo from office with immediate effect. This follows receipt of the report of the committee constituted under Article 1466 to inquire into a petition submitted by a Ghanaian citizen, Mr. Daniel Fori. After considering the petition and the evidence, the committee found that the grounds for stated misconduct and the Osha Maria video me catch was Daniel Fori no the buy no largely based on misconduct, which is the first thing. The second incompetence, third infirmity, so yare na na jeans sisu yia yet me you or say stated misconduct under Article 1461 had been established and the recommendation and recommended a removal from office. Under Article 1469, the president is required to act in accordance with the committee's recommendation. Now, the constitution send ya ya bit me legal education Article 1469. Let me read for you what Article 1469 states. Okay, answer Krana Mekona and Yanko 1 or say a justice of the Supreme Court or chairman of the regional tribunal shall be removed from office except for stated misconduct. So the first reason why I the first reason is stated misconduct. 2 no per the constitution incompetence. 3 no infirmity. So yare na dwenya dwuma sa ne manema no yetimi yiwadi anasa wo mo number yetimi yiwadi. But the interpreter ma magina so dey in the 1 no no stated misconduct. Now Article 1469 say the president shall in each case act in accordance with the recommendations of the committee. So meaning that the committee chaired by Justice Court Puaman recommended for the removal of the Chief Justice. Now, Daniel Fori case, a case ben. Mama article kakra Dubawa, Facture Ghana et Troye. Now, this is what they wrote about the case. Or say, Daniel Fori, the petition was filed by a private citizen named Daniel Fori, who submitted a request to President John Dramani Mahama on 17th March 2024, seeking the removal of the Chief Justice, Her Ladyship Gertrude Torkornoo. The petition cites allegation of stated misconduct and incompetence under Article 1461 of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. And to share, petition not the coin, based on 2 grounds out of the 3 Chief Justice said misconduct and incompetence. But to come President Mahama's statement now, or say, this followed report of the committee constituted under Article 1466 to inquire into a petition submitted by a Ghanaian citizen, Mr. Daniel Fori. After considering the petition and the evidence, the committee found that the grounds of stated misconduct, meaning that incompetence didn't suffice, It's Daniel Ofori case no they call on the grounds of incompetence and misconduct. Incompetence couldn't survive or not suffice. The misconduct sufficed, and Mama President Mahama based on the recommendations of the committee. Now, what are the concerns? Or say, financial conduct and misappropriation of public funds. Daniel Ofori alleged said Chief Justice said the Abansika. Some 261,890 Ghana cedis and $30,000 you the 2.1 yen. So I don't know. Again, or say unconstitutional interference with the judiciary. Or say, Madam, no, maybe not national security call order computers be in the case against Dachi or against Madam, no, and I'm court bad time or that no, and ye. Or say, or cause arrest and more treatment of judicial service IT staff during investigation to alleged court recording tampering. Or say, maybe allegation by say, Mamma tampering be. Emma or transfer ICT staff na judiciary then what is accusations in by again or say distributed circulars to court instructing them not to grant lawyer Kwame Fosu-Jiabo audience despite the Court of Appeal stay of suspension. The first circular cited lawyer Kwame Jiabo's failure to renew his license for 2004 while the blah 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 lawyer Bia Mamini ni benya some more issue court to say son or court to be one any idea it's grounds now or the buy any but few weeks ago, Mamena Kasa a press conference and I would chill the issue with Daniel Ofori, TNE.
I'll start with Mr. Daniel Ofori's petition. It is a petition with the most claims. Only 2 out of the several allegations he's making involve him personally as a court user. In one of those allegations, Mr. Daniel Ofori is urging that I should be removed as Chief Justice because I transferred a case in which he's a party from one judge in the High Court to another. That is a crime. What Mr. Ofori did not seem to know, which I stated in my answer to that allegation, is that the judge his case was transferred from had a family crisis and had to leave Ghana suddenly for an extended period. This is the only reason why cases she was handling, including Mr. Ofori's cases, were distributed to other judges to handle. In the second allegation, Mr. Ofori accuses me of transferring a case related to the first one to the new judge who took over his case, after a petition had been sent to me to have the 2 cases heard together. Any lawyer or registrar could have informed him that it is a policy written into the rules of court to have cases between the same parties involving the same issue to be heard by one judge, so that we don't have different decisions from 2 judges on the same matter. So there is no basis or truth to the allegation that I transferred his cases to a new judge because I had an interest in his cases. Indeed, in the year 2020, I wrote a dissenting opinion in one of Mr. Ofori's cases in the Supreme Court. He won that application because my dissenting opinion was a minority opinion of 3 judges. The other 4 judges supported his application. After this, his lawyers applied that I should not sit on his cases again, because I had presided over a different case involving him in the High Court when I was in the High Court in I think 2010, which he had also lost. Since then, I have not sat on any matter involving the gentleman. But what is disturbing about the current Article 146 proceedings is the fact that the cases that he's complaining about in the High Court, the ones that were transferred to one judge, started from a judgment in the Supreme Court written by His Lordship Justice Poaman in favor of Daniel Ofori. How can Justice Poaman, who gave judgment in favor of Daniel Ofori as part of a panel of Supreme Court, and whose opinion I dissented with, which has made me a target of Mr. Ofori's anger, preside over processes to remove me as Chief Justice because of complaints that Mr. Ofori has? I have already protested that there is a conflict of interest for Justice Boaman to chair the committee trying me or hearing me on Daniel Ofori's petitions. What Ms. Ofori's allegations seem to suggest is that a court user can attack the Chief Justice and ask for the removal of the Chief Justice if the Chief Justice does not agree with his case while sitting as a judge, or if his preferred judge is unable to hear his case. And now the judge who supports his case gets to preside over the removal process. Apart from these two allegations, Ms. Ofori has no interest, no personal interest in all the other allegations he's making. And he should not have been allowed to conduct a litigation against me under the disguise of an Article 146 proceeding. In two allegations, he's complaining that I misappropriated public funds to buy a ticket for my husband and my daughter to travel with me. In answer to this, I handed over my letter of appointment to prove that in my conditions of appointment as Chief Justice, Ghana graciously gave me 2 vacations in a year. In the Judicial Service travel policy, since 2010, the Chief Justice can never travel alone for security reasons. And the Chief Justice is always allowed to travel with a spouse or another person of their choice. So traveling on my officially given vacations with my husband on one occasion and my daughter for the second vacation is part of the official conditions of my appointment as Chief Justice. I was also not responsible for buying the tickets in question, such that I could be said to have misappropriated the value of the tickets. Indeed, if the Judicial Service was not allowed to buy the tickets for my vacation, the remedy was for the Auditor General to surcharge me to refund the money. Anyone can check out the 2023 accounts of Judicial Service and know for themselves that there is no surcharge against me or anyone for the tickets that were purchased for my vacations. Ms. Ofori seems to be alleging that I should have traveled with my police escort alone on vacation and not a family member. And this is why he wants me removed from office. And I'm being tried or held behind the walls of Edu Lodge. Ladies and gentlemen, the question to be asked is, why would anyone demand that I go on vacation given to me as Chief Justice with my police security, instead of going with my husband or my daughter? And how can this be a reason for subjecting a Chief Justice to a committee of inquiry? In the petition I received, Mr. Ofori also complains that my family members should not have been given per diem when they traveled with me, and I have misappropriated the per diem they were given. But anyone reading the Judicial Service travel policy will find that it provides that when the Chief Justice travels with anyone, whether police escort, another judge, secretary, or a spouse, that person is given per diem. And the rate of per diem is not set or administered by me as Chief Justice. It is regulated and administered by the Finance Directorate and the Judicial Secretary. I've already told you about the retirement of the imprest. In an arm of government where there are almost 8,000 staff that I oversee, Mr. Daniel Ofori's petition contains allegation that I transferred one member of staff to work on a different schedule, and that is why I should be removed as Chief Justice. He also alleges that I have refused to reinstate 2 members of staff whose appointments were terminated around 2015, 10 years ago, when I was nowhere near being Chief Justice, and whose issues are still being heard in court. He goes on to allege that I should be removed for terminating the appointment of 2 staff members who went through disciplinary proceedings that were initiated by reports against them before I became Chief Justice. Though it is not clear to me why Mr. Ofori should demand that the Chief Justice should be removed for transferring a member of staff or being the final authority to sign any termination letter, I handed over to His Excellency the President records covering every administrative step on these matters, supported by the due process administered by the right officers. And yet, without issuing a prima facie determination, a warrant of suspension was signed, and now I'm defending myself where there is no petition on the table. Another allegation of Mr. Ofori is that I appointed the former Judicial Secretary as Judicial Secretary when she was a judge, and so I have made her inefficient. Now, anybody who cares to know the records which I handed over to His Excellency the President was that she became Judicial Secretary in 2018. She became a judge in 2019. I was nowhere near being Chief Justice. I was appointed in June 2023. Ms. Ofori also alleges that I have appointed judges as registrars, and this has introduced inefficiency into the management of courts. Again, the records will show that the Judicial Council decided in May 2023, before I was appointed Chief Justice, that lower court judges should be appointed as registrars of the Supreme Court. So what I did was just to implement the Judicial Council's decisions. Then, Ms. Ofori alleges that a certain gentleman, not himself, but someone, who had a case in the Supreme Court in January 2024, met a different panel in May 2024, 5 months later, so I should be removed as Chief Justice. He also claims that I refused to fix an application in a case that did not involve him in Accra, which case was pending in Koforidua, so I should be removed as Chief Justice. He complains that I supervised the Judicial Secretary to administer a decision of the General Legal Council, which was taken before I became Chief Justice. So I should be removed as Chief Justice. If you read all my responses, you'll find that I provided all the records behind these decisions.
Yes, so that's according to the Chief Justice. So, no. Committee thinks otherwise. They believe that the Mamane can't, the Ofori can't, then Ofori case don't be in a year. Now, Mamma, press conference, Nana for Mammy, Adosu. Social media, you do what you add an uncle. Say no kind.
Again, resigning or retiring while Article 146 proceedings are being conducted to remove a judge is not an option any judge or public official can even have. There is a decided case on the matter by the Supreme Court. The suit number is J6/02/2019. Again, no one has the authority to walk away from proceedings started by the state. Judgment can be entered against you because you failed to defend yourself. And a judge who resigns or retires would still lose all entitlements that they have worked for because they failed to defend the claims they resigned or retired while the proceedings were still going on. Therefore, if false claims are made against a judge or commissioner or other public office holder subject to Article 146 proceedings just to achieve a political agenda, the solution cannot be to resign or voluntarily retire out of frustration, pressure, or fear. You would only subject yourself to two cruelties. a judgment based on false claims, and loss of everything you have worked for. It may well be that the efforts being made are intended to frustrate me so that I resign, so that the architects of the scheme can go back into the media and say that the wild and unfounded allegations were not defended because they were true and I had no defense to them. As Chief Justice of the nation, who has been given the privilege and obligation to lead administration of justice.
Yes, so that's Madam Gertrude also want to resign or resign best as admission of guilt. As why you be born in job so claim the din na otimi so call in the full retirement package. Then you be adwuma wan sonsom Ghana nyina no bodwuma anya bodwuma adodode e won hu bi obetime nya na ade intact. Kwame Yakufo a lawyer any TV3 kasa na maame ne ya adwen. Neto ne ya adwen enie.
To resign is to concede that you will not fight the issue. And generations that will come after us will say that you knew that you couldn't fight the charges made against her. That's why she bowed out honorably. And therefore her position that she will fight till the last drop of sweat on the battlefield is respectable. She's entitled to fight it till the end. She's entitled to fight it till the end. It is a restoration. I'm not too sure that even the Chief Justice wants to be restored at this stage, especially when she's in active conflict with the court itself. I'm not too sure that the Chief Justice is wishing for that. I do not know what informed the bar to speak that way, but that's the bar that has spoken. I don't know of the bar.
No, I'm actually talking about she herself. I mean, the press conference she held recently. Yeah. I'm sure you remember she said that people had appealed to her that it's not worth it. She should just resign, and she said she won't resign because, and she gave the same explanation you just gave that.
But they're ongoing proceedings as well, and she's not reached the statutory retiring age, so she cannot even resign. They are ongoing proceedings. And because they're ongoing proceedings, she has to go through it.
This is the breaking news. Share your comments with me. Now subscribe. My subscribe na click bell notification. The video be to ma obehu na watimi ashebe. Thank you so much for watching. Pound rate call Play Store and App Store na call down. For the juma uku de sikani shima remitting platform ni nyina e do more feedback be ma no hu ne beboa na de juma. Nyame nhira no nka mo. Send the be American. Me here Ghana so yet person so be chon to them. Take off yourself. Bye bye.